the mouse I'm doing a giveaway for in a week and a half. Please check that out. Please check that out. There's a lot of ways to enter. So, we have what is game 3 between this Megate fellow and Daniel. I don't know who Megate is, YouTube. No clue. Daniel's playing as Burmese. In my opinion, one of the best overall civs in the game right now. Definitely needs to be balanced out. I think most people agree on that. But they have not been balanced just yet, so they're very, very strong. Daniel's map is really interesting. Look at this. His main gold and his second and third gold are forward, beyond the hill, and then he has both of his stones forward, so not the most ideal map for him. Does have more wood lines than he's had in previous games, though. Red's map is also similar. 3 of his golds are forward. You can't easily wall these in or protect them. There's a hill on the front. His stone is here. I guess his secondary stone's in the back. Now, thinking about the civilization's options, Chinese, they have very strong options throughout the game. They might not have as many power spikes as Burmese do, because Burmese, they have the Arambai, and they have the +1 attack on the infantry per age. But Chinese might be a civ to counter the Arambai if Daniel can get there, because they have strong archers, which is really the only counter to Arambai. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Dran says, T90 official, well, now that I know you typically stream around the time I get home from work, this will have to be part of my daily routine now. Well, at least for the next 2 weeks until the World Cup finishes. Yes. Dran, I know you're rather new to the stream, and this might go towards people at YouTube as well, if you guys are curious. I tend to stream at 2 or 3 good times for Europe, and around 2 good times for the EST time zone. And sometimes, so I'm in EST, I'm in Pennsylvania. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll start around 2 p.m. my time. So it starts off really good for Europe, and then after about 3 or 4 hours, it becomes good for those in my time zone getting home from work and school and whatnot. That way I can cater to both worlds. But it really depends. I don't have a set time for streaming because I'm following events and all of that. So I do my best to include every time zone. I think, as most Age of Empires go, map control will be at a premium here. If I'm Daniel, I go man-at-arms for sure. Build the barracks right here on this hill. Maybe this far forward, but I doubt it. Yeah, build the barracks on the hill, go man-at-arms. You get that extra attack. Now, Chinese start with extra villagers, and if you can get your start rolling, you will have a few more vills working for you, and it looks like Red does at the moment. Keep in mind that he researched Loom and Blue has not done so yet. So there's about a vill and a half difference, if not 2 vills. Chinese normally click up on 23 population. That's just how it plays out. No sign of what players will do just yet, but we'll know soon enough. So a little tip for you guys. I don't know if you spotted that on the Lumberjacks there. The Lumberjacks, they clump up sometimes. So as you improve, it's important to focus on your Lumberjacks being spread out. Focus on your berry villagers not being on the far side of the berry bush. So sometimes the villagers will start collecting this one and they have to travel a longer distance. All the little things add up in this game. You got to keep an eye on that. I'm in CST at the moment, but I'm moving into... So you're at EST, I believe is what you're trying to say. Oh, you're moving to EST. Gotcha, okay. Where are you moving to on the East Coast? Just curious. Yeah, Bash, I'm going to go through the ECL stuff. That way people know how the tournament's going to work and what it is exactly. Idle Villager, man! Frickin' Jim. I always knew he had a low work ethic. Way to go, Jim. Building your production buildings forward. Always a good idea when you have a map like this. Daniel going to gold, so we'll be man-at-arms. And Red now clicks up. Again, he has 2 extra villagers. Oh, I hope he's not going for scouts. The trouble with scouts versus man-at-arms is that you have to mass the scouts. So you need to get to feudal age. You need to create 3 or 4 scouts before you can do much damage. That takes a lot of time. And the man-at-arms build is perfect because you can create the militia in Dark Age and just click an upgrade right when you hit feudal. So the unit's already created. And Burmese man-at-arms even stronger because they get the extra attack. So going scouts here is difficult. Oh, interesting. Maybe he's trying to go archers instead, because he's sending quite a few villagers to gold. This is even... This build order is not normal. I think Megate is struggling with the layout of his base here, because you can't really protect this. I'll tell you another thing Megate has done well, but he hasn't really reacted accordingly, is he's scouted the early barracks. If he knows Burmese, he has to know man-at-arms is coming, and... Okay, he's working on some walls. I'd like to see him wall in his gold miners and wall in his lumberjacks. Mick Vela says, can't believe people still play this game. I used to play the Age of Empires when I was 12. Glad to see a classic survive. Yeah, man, it's bigger than ever. Welcome. Why don't you move to another country? Well, Caesar, I might someday. I might. You know... How many people are watching the stream from Europe right now? This will just be an example. She is going to fail the quick wall. Nice attempt, though. She could be dead here in a moment. Yeah, I get what he is trying to do. He's trying to quick wall this. I think Burmese man-at-arms should make the difference and go through. Okay, so a lot of you are from Europe, right? That villager's dead. Nice job from Daniel. So for me, it is 5:54 p.m. Oftentimes, I stream around noon, 1 or 2, and then I stream for 6 to 7 hours. So as my point of archers takes a long time, scouts takes a long time is proven because Blue's doing such a good job. If I moved to Europe, I would have to start my streams around like 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 7 or 8 p.m. and stream till about 2 a.m. To reach my European audience. And then I wouldn't really be in a position to reach my American audience or my like North American audience. So, I guess, long story short, man, it's just much better for me streaming in the EST time zone. I like starting work at noon or 1 and streaming till 10. That way I can reach people in Europe and in my time zone. If I lived in Europe, if I wanted to reach people in my time zone at 8 or 9 p.m., I need to stay up till 2 or 3. And I don't have the energy to cast the same, you know? So, I kind of like the experience someday. But as far as the whole routine goes, because I'm a big routine guy... It is a lot better if I stay in the United States. So these man-at-arms are trapped, and you might think, wow, that's a big throw from Blue, but this is actually just fine, man. He's forced a freaking tower here. He's forced the repairs. Daniel, he's already transitioning away from this, most likely. You know what? I say that. Oh, this is interesting. Daniel, he's walled up his base nicely, but he doesn't know his opponent's going archers. So he's adding forward spears because he expects... scouts, and no, now he sees his opponent's archers. So that's interesting. He has no counter to that, so there is an opportunity here for red. So I hope that makes sense. It's just much better for my lifestyle to live in this time zone to reach the audiences I'm trying to reach. Move to Cancun, Mexico. It is EST as well. The other thing is taxes and healthcare and all that. I mean, it's complicated in the United States. It's complicated everywhere. I don't want to move too far away, chat. I've only been doing this full time since November, so you never know in this business how things will change. I expect things to change more towards the positive side of things, but you never know. So a few skirms here in order for Daniel. He added quite a few farms early instead of the archery range, so his economy will be just fine. He did have to build this tower, though, and he cannot build more than that because his stones are forward. His man-at-arms still getting value, just distracting Megate. But Megate, he has quite a few archers now, and he will have map control, so he can wall up his base, and it looks like he's working on completing those walls that he struggled with earlier. So if you're wondering why the man-at-arms meta is the current meta, it's because of how strong they are in early feudal. And we've seen that here. Okay, Daniel killing 2 archers with the skirms. Oh, beautiful micro as well. Red's trying to pick off that weak skirm, and the skirm has just been baiting in front. I think this is where Daniel starts getting some map control back. Might be where Red considers adding a stable at some point. For either some scouts or maybe some knights in the castle age. When your opponent's full skirm, that's not a bad move, but he's just going to fight with pure numbers right now. And try and win the micro war. Not working out so far, though. He's losing these expensive archers. Not working out at all. He's being really stubborn with this. I don't know about that decision. Grim says, why no tower on that hill? Wouldn't that secure some good map control? Well, you want to hit a resource they're currently using. He doesn't see this tower's here. I think a tower here would be brilliant. It's not something he necessarily needs to do, but I think a tower here would be brilliant. His scouting has kind of failed him, though. He might think that there's a secondary stone for Daniel in the back. I think if he saw this stone, he would consider coming forward with a tower or two. Also, the other thing is he already built a tower at home, so he would need to go to stone before he can get the resources for that. That takes time. But when he's on the hill, he does do 25% more damage with his attack. So this is just fine for now. Just has to continue to micro, and both players adding plenty of economy back at their own base. Daniel, because he added the farms very early, though, he has so much food, and he's gone heavy on gold, so he can purchase his way up to the castle age. And I don't know if Red has done enough here. I mean, his KD certainly not that great. I don't know if Red has done enough here to make me think that he's going to be able to hold back the castle age attack from Daniel. Daniel can go elite skirm in a few knights or elephants. Daniel's on the way up. I think Red needs to build his own market. He just placed it somewhere. Yeah, he just placed his market. So, you want to hear something interesting, chat? You know, I've been casting this game for almost 3 years straight now, and we've seen completely different metagames and different styles of play. 2 years ago, when it was just AOC and it wasn't the expansions, players, if someone was building a market, going heavier onto gold and then using a market to buy food or wood or whatever, that meant they were really far behind, and that was normally a very bad sign. But now we see everybody doing that, and my theory is that nowadays there are just so many strong options with these civs that you can build up towards. In AOC, everybody pretty much had the same old options, and there was no big power spikes like we see now. So I think you can justify using the market, which essentially means your economy is not suited for what you are trying to do. But you could justify doing that because of the power spikes you get. And I mean, also, players are more aggressive in general because there's less lag than ever, so it's also worth it there too. So yeah, it interests me thinking back to what the meta used to be, you know? So this would be the time to fight. You see your opponent hits Castle Age. Move in now. Good decision from Red to do this. The problem is he's lost a lot of his archers here, and one single elephant should clean everything he has up. So I think he needs to probably leave and distract, or at least take this time to kill Blue's skirmishers or a few villagers if he can. And Blue knows if he kills this, he can then successfully push out immediately. He won't be distracted at all. So he quick-walled that. And yeah, he's putting a lot of attention into killing these units, which he will have no problem killing. But Red's gone forward. He's building one stable forward. Weird to have a stable forward, if you ask me. Adding a few spears, I like it. He's on stone, so he can build TCs or castles later. And this has proved a worthy distraction. Oh, and look at this! He saw the elephant was attacking that skirm, so he selected that skirm and sent it the other direction, just so he can get some more idle time out of his opponent. Good stuff there. And Blue only now can start pushing out. He doesn't have elite skirmishers to use. And in my opinion, he's gone for a very greedy style of adding 3 TCs. Going immediately to 3 TC when you have no map presence is really risky in the current meta. The idea of adding extra town centers is to get more villagers so you can use resources to fight back later on. But when your opponent already has the momentum in the numbers, it's okay if they're behind, 5-10 villagers as long as they have more military than you. But normally when you see this style, you just kind of, the players have accepted that fact, and they'll probably go for high value things like a Siege Workshop and Mangonels. And he's not going to try and push out at all here. Daniel might get away with this, but he has no clue what's going on here, and he won't have a clue because the spears have killed him. I love the play from red. Love the play from red. So he won't be able to afford to add extra villagers, but he's getting map control. Yes, I love games like this. I love games like this, where there's two distinct styles. This is what excites me about Age of Empires 2. Blue's still completely blind to this. He does add a siege workshop, but his opponent will have a siege workshop. And with siege and monk, red will counter everything blue can throw at him right now. The siege kills ranged units and kills enemy siege, and then the monks can convert any elephants or knights. We have knights, skirmishers, archers, mangonel, spears. Everything is here that red can possibly make. Tokaraka, I don't think you need to upgrade any of your units, honestly, if you're red at the moment. Like, you don't need pikes because your opponent can't even engage your spears, right? So you're probably better off putting that food into TCs. He is behind in villagers. It's just a question of, will blue get into a position where his extra economy will work out for him? Now, something to point out here, the Burmese skirmishers, they do not get access to the second or third defense upgrade. So, against pretty much everything, even if red ends up making his own ranged units like Arbalest later on, the skirms are pretty garbage as the game goes on. They're good in early Castle Age, but remember, he lost his skirmishers in early Castle Age. Now here comes some knights, and those knights will pick off the mangonel, and they're going for more eco rating. Base is pretty compact for Daniel, so he'll idle his vills, but he won't get any damage done there. And look at that, the monks going for the elephant conversion. Daniel realizes and deletes his elephant so he doesn't give it to his opponent. Daniel going for guard tower. Now, he's on 4 TCs. The other aspect of this is, it's not just about vill numbers, it's about vill efficiency. How many times have we seen blue with idle villagers or just garrisoning villagers? This, for example, he has 800 wood at the moment. These lumberjacks are not efficient. Like, you're under so much pressure, your economy is not as strong as the numbers show. I think what Daniel will go for is a few decent engagements and then a castle on this hill, but red's already here, so it has to be below the hill. I like how the man-at-arms still out here. He's like, I will get map control for you. His buddy just died, but it's okay. He was a loner anyway. Okay, blue adds his own monk, gets his own conversion, but yeah, he has to delete the knight and deletes the elephant. The monks heal each other here. Yeah, I like the way red has played this a lot. And also, guys, he's been on stone for a while, so he could build a castle forward. Now, Daniel's good enough to get away with this style for sure. And once he gets to Erenbai, it could change things here. But when you're playing yourselves in a 1v1, please play like red has here. Getting map control first. Because especially at lower levels, the player who's going full boom like this, they will not have the skill to hold and then push back. Oh, and how interesting is this? Daniel wanted to build his castle here. At the moment, Daniel cannot take a second or third gold safely, and red's building his castle forward. This mangonel will get some vill picks. What? What? Well, those women have been eating their Wheaties in the morning. Jeez. How are these women not dying? I'm not sex. There we go. Finally, that's normal. That's a normal human response to giant rocks to the head. Death. More idle time for Daniel. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, this mangonel gets focused down. Now, Daniel, he has a lot more resources. He could use that market once again, and he could hit him first and just trap down red's castle. And he has relocated to this gold, so despite not being active in the middle of the map, He's done okay here, Daniel, and he's building guard towers here, and he's killed that Mangonel. Let's see, is there an overchop? Nope, no hole, so he's fine. How similar were the feudal castle age positions and then the castle imperial age positions? Remember, Daniel clicked up to castle faster. Red was much later than that. Red had more military. Pretty much the same thing here. Red will click up later to the next stage. But this time it's a little bit worse for Red, right? Because he'll lose his castle immediately. Everything that Red has here will be taken down by Trebs, I assume. And also, Daniel's done a hell of a job to make sure that he doesn't lose any more villagers because he has lack of numbers. And guard towers is a wonderful move. Daniel, all castle age, has been booming up in hopes that he can get to stronger imperial age options with more eco. I think he'll go... I mean, Daniel's getting chain barding armor. He doesn't even have a stable. I think he will go for... I don't know what he's going for. We'll have to wait. Still no sign. Red's on his way up, and he's a total of 1 minute and, I don't know, around 15 seconds behind. But I think he can still fall back. I think he could build a castle at home. It's not ideal to fall back, but I think that has to be the necessary response. Maybe just repair this castle for a while and then go into Trebs of your own. Daniel hits Imp now. Daniel's making elite skirm, and maybe he goes for... It's either Cavalier or Light Cav. Oh, he's going to double down here. He is going to double down here and build another castle. So it's 23 military for Red. Much more map control. He's keeping an eye on where Blue might go out on this side. Very little mobility for Red at the moment. In fact, both players not with too much military on the map that can do an awful lot. It'll start off with trebuchets. Ideally for the Chinese player, they'd have Chukunu though. And that's why Daniel has to go into Trebs. This is also similar to the last game we saw, guys, because in the last game, Red had 2 castles. Daniel had 1, but Daniel had more economy and he was able to push Red back. Now let's see here. Red needs to build this castle and repair this one. Oh, and the castle's in range of the Treb. That's a big deal. If Daniel doesn't realize it, Daniel does realize it. Now, Daniel's trebuchets actually do less damage because they're firing uphill. And the Trebs from Red, once he makes them, they will do more damage. And there's 1 Treb out already. Only 1 castle for Daniel. Fire! I want Red to win this so I can prove my point. Okay, Treb's coming out of both these castles. Wait, hold on a second. What's he attacking? Oh, he's attacking the... Don't tell me. Oh, God, he's misclicked the guard tower. He's not attacking the castle. That's such a throw. Oh, God, don't attack the tower, man. Attack the castle, please. Oh, that's so hard to see. He could have had this castle halfway down. He's been attacking the guard tower. Oh, God. Still might be okay. Daniel doesn't have the stone to repair his castle. There's a lot of vills here for Red. His Shukanus, they'll be fine against these skirmishers if they're pulled back, and they have been. At this rate, Daniel loses his castle and he loses his Trebs, I think. Elephants for Daniel. He's chosen to go elephants against Chinese. Wow, that's interesting. I think it's too expensive for Daniel, despite having a few more vills. Just look at the score, guys. Now, one thing Daniel does have is some bombard cannons. And if he keeps his Trebs alive, he can force Red into more and more repairs. He also has these extra golds. He's also getting some relics, but Red has 3. What an interesting game here. Elite Battle Elephant for Daniel. That's so pricey. He's put all the gold he has into that upgrade. He can't collect his main or his second gold. He's barely on his 3rd. This Mangonel comes in on 1 HP and will not kill the trebuchets. So much aggression from Red. Does he have the answer to Elite Battle Elephant, though? Does Daniel even have the numbers? You know what? He's housed at the moment. So, I'm so passionate about this. Daniel has put himself in this awkward position. He chose this life. He chose to be put in a position where he'd be housed and losing his buildings and losing his gold. It was a strategy choice, and now he's lost all of his trebuchets to that freaking capped ram. Unbelievable. Monks, of course, from red that are still around here, where they could be created, can convert the elephants. Red is making Chukunu, and Chukunu are very good versus elephants. I already said how the skirmishers for Burmese are weak. Now, red, luckily, seeing elite battle elephants, so he knows what's coming. I would pull the trebs back if I were him. These things are tanky, and they have all the defense upgrades. Can Daniel push this back now? He's so stretched for res. If he kills the trebuchets, that's a good way to start bringing yourself back. I just don't think so. I'm not saying he can't win the game. I just don't think he can push up that hill right now. What both players could do is try and hit the flanks. Like, this is something that red unfortunately has not scouted. He could have units here killing these villagers. Daniel's done a good job at spreading his wings a little bit, but you know, guys, these Chukunu and monks, they counter everything that Daniel has on the map at the moment. Even the bombard cannons, they can get converted by Chinese monks. The question mark over the elite battle elephant is always the cost. When you go into this upgrade in a 1v1, it's fine in team games, but in a 1v1, if you go into this upgrade, it's such an investment. If you don't do damage with it, oftentimes you lose the game. Now, red has to be careful with his numbers because these units can snowball on him. That's not good. This castle goes up. I just don't know. This is an epic game. I gotta stop giving my opinions on everything that's going on and just cast what's happening. Because the Chukunu just got wrecked there. They're all weak. The elephants are faster than you think. Issue still remains for Daniel. He just cannot kill these castles, but there's not many monks from red now. Red is also losing his trebuchets. I think these Chukunu need to start doing the dance in and out of the castle. Hop out on the other side. Will Daniel add stables on the left-hand side? Upgrade to light cav and raid these extra stones? He actually doesn't see that either. Will he have the resources for bombard cannons? I just heard a siege workshop. Can he start taking down these castles on the hill? I don't know what red just did with that trebuchet. That was probably a misclick because he shouldn't attack the house there, and he's going to lose that treb. 155 population for Daniel, 161 for red. 134 villagers for Daniel, 141 for red. Both players with massive amount of idols. And, oh, a small counterattack for Daniel. He'll kill these villagers. And this is where you need to look towards pikemen if you're red. And that's what he's doing. The castles are firing on the elephants. The Chukunus, they are massed. I don't know if Daniel has the resources to transition. That was my concern for him. Yep, just have some meat in the way of pikemen on the front. Chukunus, their first spurt of arrows is so strong. And this is before they're fully upgraded as well. I don't know, guys. Look at Daniel's resources. Now, he is building stables out here. At the same time, red must have scouted this. At the same time that red tries to build a castle. So this will get denied. More stone than for Daniel. So maybe a castle coming. Daniel's also, he's done a fantastic job killing villagers on this side. And most of what red has is forward, so it's not like he can go back to address that. But still, can Daniel even defend his own base now? Had red kept his trebuchets alive, I don't think Daniel could keep his base up and running. Such an interesting game here. This is one of those games that just shows you that all players in the top 100 are fantastic. You don't need to have Viper, Doubt, Leary, MBL. You don't need to have them for a good game. This is an exceptional game. Like, that castle goes up. That's absolutely huge. In my opinion, guys, I know the score's dead even. The only way Daniel comes back here is if he starts using mobility and hitting from the flanks. Like, basically does this. He has to go light cav, though. He cannot afford to go elephants. If he starts hitting those flanks, which red doesn't really have locked down, then that makes red's attack that much weaker in the middle here. One player has mobility, the other does not. It's so tough, though. I mean, so tough to do all of this. And to focus on all of this. He's not paying attention, and he could lose his whole lumber line. Yeah, red is really struggling to keep up with all of this. Now, he has monks here, but it's a matter of looking away from everything that's going on in the front and just clicking an individual unit to convert it. It's tough. Chukunu Pikeman is much better, Elvenor. Much better here, especially when you have the castles already in this position. So capped ram for Daniel. He's trying to take out the castles. Another issue when you're trying to go with capped ram against Chukunu is that the Chukunu, they destroy siege pretty easily. Now he's bought himself enough time with that wave of elephants, which is just now going down, to maybe get this castle down. But red recognizes this. And again, he's dealing with so much more than just this fight. And he's now repairing this. He needs to kill the elephants and then kill these two capped rams. For now, let's see, does he have the stone? No, he's about to run out of stone. For now, I think he saves it, but just barely. He runs out of stone. He kills one ram, he kills the next ram. Daniel's raids on the left. As you can see, pretty successful. He has 20 more vills than his opponent. Red is just idols everywhere. His eco is falling apart, guys. But oh, he's building a castle on the right. And this is something Daniel now sees. And Daniel has to run from with 30 of his villagers. And then Chukunus, of course, could come out of that castle. Daniel cannot take this gold. He cannot take his stone. That's all reds now. And these villagers, they haven't figured it out. They finished that gold pile, so they're going to this one right into the castle fire. Maybe this is where red has gained a little bit more control. He can pay attention to the flanks a bit more. He converts an elephant, will kill the next elephant, and he's now, ooh, going for a watchtower and being denied. What a game, guys. What a game. I'm so glad red is winning this the way he is, though. I say it every single time I cast a game. You should not, in the current meta, you should not add town centers unless you have some type of map control. That's exactly what Daniel did, and he's paying the price now. He had a lot more resources in the bank. He didn't have the time to use them. And he didn't have enough to push up that hill. And especially when there's a hill like that, with so many resources, you shouldn't play this the way Daniel did. And now, everywhere you look now, red is taking the better engagements. He's gotten 3 big conversions on the front. On the right, he's built a tower and he has Chukunu. And on the left, he's pushing in and will kill 20 villagers. And that's the game. So am I making sense now, chat? Many people were maybe thinking, this T90 guy's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Adding TCs is good. Economy is good. This guy's a noob. Seriously, guys. The reason Megate won the game was because of the style here. He recognized Daniel had forward resources. He recognized Daniel was going to have a hard time locking them down, so he went with less eco, more military. Now, in Daniel's defense, it's not like Daniel made the dumbest move of all time here. I think you have to give red more credit than anything, because red was the one who destroyed the numbers for blue in early Castle Age, if you remember that, when the skirms went down. If Daniel went knights, his opponent had monks and camels. Chinese pretty much had every counter. So Daniel was almost forced into attempting this. But I think that, because remember, he went 4 TCs. I think that you use the resources you put into that 4th TC and possibly go into like a Maganel earlier on, or some monks of your own. You know, the other possibility is just play it more aggressive in general. You have a hill on the front with all your resources surrounding it. Why not play more aggressive? He went man-at-arms. The reason he had a faster castle time after man-at-arms was because he added farms before he added military. There's a couple things he could have done differently, potentially, but it was close. It was close. Alright, so there's the KD. Pretty close, KD. Those elephants are strong. Just that they're expensive. See, look at this. This is a beautiful thing. This is a beautiful sight, guys. Blue had more resources collected. 10k more food. over 10k more wood. Obviously didn't have the stone and more gold, and he still lost the game. That, if Daniel could get away with that and win in that game, I think that the meta would be really boring for me. But because the meta favors aggression, I'm loving it right now, guys. I'm loving it. All right, we're all caught up on new subs. Let me quickly talk about